Hello everyone, this is Jack with Let's Draw Today. Thank you so much for joining me and drawing with me today. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to draw a camouflage pattern on an army hat. This video lesson demonstrates one short segment of a larger tutorial on how to create a line drawing of an army soldier saluting. You can visit the link in the description for the full tutorial with step-by-step pictures. If you are interested in watching the full video tutorial on how to draw an army man with step-by-step demonstration and explanation, you can find it along with all of my other full-length drawing tutorials when you join the Let's Draw Today Club. Look for the link in the description to learn more and become a member. With that said, let's see how to draw camouflage on an army hat. Now, all that's left is to put the camo pattern on the uniform. And as I said at the earlier on in the tutorial, the patterns are always changing. Every few years, it seems like, every several years, and they're giving new names to the patterns and new looks and everything like that. So, just going to keep the pattern more general as opposed to trying to replicate exactly what we see in the reference photo, because like I said before, the reference photo itself is how the uniforms looked back in 2015, and even that's outdated now. So we're going to keep a very general look to this, and I'm not even really going to spend too much time looking at the reference photo as I develop this pattern. But what I want to do is show you how we can create this army pattern on the uniform, starting with the hat. So let's get a closer look. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create some very basic shapes, and we're going to fill those shapes using a combination of hatching and cross-hatching, just to make a very simplified, very general camouflage pattern that resembles what you would see on an army uniform. And what I'll start with is just creating the shapes, and also when we get into the shading, well, the hatching and cross-hatching pattern, I'm going to make some of the patterns darker and some of them lighter. Just because when you look at an army uniform, there's just different variations of the colors. It's not all green and black. Sometimes there are some light brown and dark brown, and just light and dark green here and there, but we're going to keep it general with like dark shapes and light shapes, and then the dark shapes and lighter shapes, and then the actual fabric itself, which is mostly green, which we're not going to see here. Okay, so looking at the hat, and we'll just start here maybe, and actually I have my mechanical pencil. And I'm just going to make a very irregular pattern, a irregular shape here near the top of the hat. And as you do this, you don't have to make yours look exactly like mine. You can make it similar to this, or you can kind of create your own style, your own shape. Doesn't really matter. Might make some of the edges touch the seams occasionally. Right now what I'm doing is I'm creating what's going to be my darkest shapes first. There's really no reason or correct sequence to this. You could just as easily create the lighter shapes first, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'll start with the darker shapes, but I'm just doing the outline right now. So we've got one here and we've got one here, and I'll come over on this side of the hat, make another one. maybe it comes up here near the top also. And so I'll make another one over here on this side. And a lot of times it is, good to, and you don't always have to do this, but it's good to kind of stop at the seams because, if you think about the way they create the uniform, they cut different strips out of the pattern fabric and then they piece that together. So it's not always going to be, sometimes it might look like this, but it won't always be seamless, transition from one part of the fabric to the next with a particular shape that you're drawing, because it might have been pieced together with two different types of fabric that were cut separately. Okay, let's look down here now and make another shape. And maybe one more here. And maybe there's one here on the top of the brim that we can barely see. And over here. And let's see on the underside of the hat too, on the underside of the brim. Now we can take a look at these individual shapes that we made, and we'll just make a very simple crosshatch pattern within those shapes to that'll be the extent of the shading that we do for most of this drawing. And for those of you that aren't really familiar with what a crosshatch pattern is, it's basically you're drawing lines that are very close together, and they're parallel to each other, like this. And this actually is called hatching, what I'm doing now, but cross-hatching involves hatching in two different directions. So this is the first direction of my lines. They're just going parallel in one direction, and then the crosshatch comes when you repeat the same steps over what you just did, but you do it in a perpendicular direction. So that's a crosshatch pattern, and we'll just continue to shade all of these shapes in the same manner. And this is just to be a little different. Now, if you wanted to shade this like in a different manner, just with this, kind of with the side of your pencil, you're more than welcome to do that also. We'll just give it a different kind of a style, the way we're doing it here. And that's the reason behind that. We'll just continue doing the same thing with all of the shapes. Okay, I believe I did one here and one over here, and then one here in the middle on the top of the brim, if I'm not mistaken. and then some on the underside of the brim. All right, so now we've got some. Now we've got the darker shapes on the hat. So now we're going to go back and we'll put a few more. We're going to put the outline of a few more shapes on the hat, but this time when we shade them, we'll just do the hatch pattern. So we'll just go one way and we'll not go the other way. So first I'll outline the shapes. And again, we're just going to keep these irregular and no real strategy here as to where to place the shapes or anything like that, but just kind of I'm keeping them generally a similar size, but you know, they don't necessarily have to be the same size. Okay, and I think this is gonna, and I'm kind of planning in my mind to where, you know, what I want shaded. Like I think I'll when I go back and shade this, I want all of this to be shaded. And maybe there's one here. Maybe I'll put one here on the brim itself that goes to the top also. Okay, so all of this. And maybe right there. And put one here and right there. Okay, so now we'll go back and create a hatch pattern. And I'm not going the opposite direction here, so I'm just keeping it one layer of lines, and I'm going to do that for all of the shapes that I just drew. And I'm not worrying too much about keeping these lines going the same direction within the individual shapes. I mean, within as one shape as opposed to the next shape. I might shift my angle slightly, and I'm not going to worry too much about keeping them all the same angle. But I am trying to keep the shapes, the lines parallel within each specific shape. And that is how to draw a camouflage pattern on an army hat. Once again, if you would like to learn how to draw an army soldier and you wish to draw along with me during the entirety of this tutorial with step-by-step video clips and more specific directions, you can do so with membership and the Let's Draw Today Club. If you are a beginner who feels like you lack the ability to draw anything, then the Let's Draw Today Club and the tutorials within it are designed especially for you. Just click on the link in the description for more info and to join. If you found this video to be helpful, please like it, leave a comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And be sure to click on the notification bell so you don't miss new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for drawing with me today.